Following the arrest of 8 passengers Ruby Franke and Connections Jody Hildebrandt, more and more information about the two of them have been coming out every day. Their families have been speaking out, and the entire situation just gets worse and worse by the day. Body cam footage was released this past week from the day of their arrest, as well as body cam footage of Kevin Franke, Ruby's husband. The footage has been shocking to viewers who have been following along with the story, as we're seeing firsthand how Kevin has been handling the situation and interacting with law enforcement. On the day of their arrest, one of Ruby and Kevin's children had been found in Jody's home and the other had escaped earlier in the day. There was evidence of Ruby having been in the home and having knowledge of what was going on there, and so the two of them were arrested. Since there wasn't evidence of Kevin being there, he wasn't arrested, and his lawyer has been claiming that him and Ruby had been separated for some time before the arrest, and he hadn't been in contact with any of the children living with her. Kevin is currently fighting for custody of their 4 children under the age of 18, but people who've been following along with the story for a while now, long before the arrest of Jody and Ruby, have been questioning if Kevin should get custody based on the fact that he and Ruby were both strict in their parenting and displayed it on their YouTube channel for years. He at one point was in the Connections videos and believed in the teachings, and although his lawyer claims he did not know what occurred with his children once him and Ruby decided to live separately, viewers have been questioning him. His lawyer has been painting him out to be this loving father who only wants everyone to be together, but public record isn't backing him up, with the way recently talked about how he tried to press charges against his eldest daughter Sherry. He wanted to charge her with burglary, but when law enforcement told him they wouldn't press charges because she had permission to enter the home, and also because his lawyer had been saying he hadn't been in Ruby's house in 13 months prior to her arrest, so Sherry could have taken the items that he was claiming were stolen any time during those 13 months he wasn't there. So they can't just accuse her of suddenly stealing them now that he's come back to the house for the first time and things are missing. But he wasn't happy with the fact that they wouldn't charge her and told them that they would be hearing from his lawyer. But now body cam footage has been released of Kevin Franke from when the police gave Kevin the items back that he thought Sherry stole from Ruby's house that weren't his. She ended up returning them to the police station and they later gave them back to him. And you can see in the footage that he is looking at the items to try and see if they're all there. He seems pretty upset about the situation. I mean, truly, like, what is he hiding in these items that he had to accuse his own daughter of robbery? Like, to call 911 and say that his daughter should be charged. There must be something crazy on these things. We can see that it looks like they are returning multiple journals, laptops, and we've also heard them say that passports were also returned. And also, like, how does he think this makes him look as he's trying to get custody of his 4 other children in a case like this? Sure does not make him seem like this fun-loving, happy dad trying to accuse his older daughter of robbery. But literally, as they are asking him if all of this stuff is there, he says to them, "Yeah, explain to me again why this was not a robbery." They said, "Because it's a civil issue. You guys are family. She's been in the house before. You haven't been in the house in a year. She had interest in the items. She didn't take them with intention to deprive you of them. Theft, that's theft code. We have to prove intent to deprive you of the items, and that wasn't her intent in having them." So the detective sergeant said, "We're not going to charge her for anything." And Kevin just responds saying, "Okay, I'll have to do some more research on that." Like, she gave these things back to you and you're still asking why this isn't considered a robbery. Like, you have the items back. She willingly gave them back to you. And you weren't in the house for a year. A year you weren't there. And the first time you go back, you want to say she robbed you? It's just not clicking for me how he doesn't see how ridiculous he sounds right now and how his lawyer is letting him act like this, because it clearly isn't helping his case at all. At the time that the news of Kevin trying to charge Sherry was released to the public, he had issued a statement trying to deny claims, saying Kevin didn't do either. He and Sherry are working together on bygones and resuming a loving and healthy father-daughter relationship. Kevin is still trying to understand and correct the upside-down world that was dealt him. It's a lot to deal with all at once. Meanwhile, there's literal footage of him asking why it isn't a robbery, so there's no denying that this was something that didn't actually happen, because it clearly did. And this definitely didn't look like them working on a healthy father-daughter relationship, but we'll get into some recent sightings of Kevin and Sherry that have some people thinking that maybe, and hopefully they have been able to work on things, but nothing has been confirmed. But before we talk about that, in regards to this body cam footage, let's also pay close attention to the date of this. The body cam footage was taken on September 1st, 2023. This is only 2 days, literally 48 hours after Ruby and Jody were arrested. And this is what he is so focused on. At a time where they just found his children in the condition that they were in, this is where his priorities seem to lie. Getting his things back and trying to charge his oldest daughter with robbery. It's truly mind-blowing, but reporters on the scene at the most recent court date they all had in regards to the custody of the 4 young children in the family say that before the hearing, the family was seen outside the courthouse smiling together. Law and Crime Network reported that Chad, Sherry, and Kevin were the members walking together. So maybe Kevin's changed from the day that they got this body cam footage where he's asking why they couldn't charge Sherry with robbery, but the child welfare case is sealed now, so we don't exactly know what's been going on in the courtroom and if their lawyers had them walk out together to try and ease the press that they've been getting or what. But KUTV shared images of this interaction on their website. You can see the whole family walking into court together. And this is one of the first times we're really seeing Chad in a long time. Chad is not on social media like Sherry, and he was living with Kevin away from Ruby and the 4 children that were under her care during the time of their separation. And we just really haven't seen him until now. And he's there, he's smiling, seemingly living up to what the lawyer's been saying about everyone trying to repair their relationships. But like I said, we just don't know what's been going on inside that courtroom. We also don't know what exactly happened during the time that Ruby and Kevin were separated, why the children were separated in the way that they were, with Chad living with Kevin and the 4 children living with Ruby. We also don't know if Sherry had communication with Chad during that time or anything like that. So there's still a lot of questions that people have and not sure if they'll ever get answered, but to see these 3 hopefully on good terms is maybe a good sign for the future. There's just been so much that has gone on over the last couple of years and obviously in the last couple of months. And we've seen that Sherry has been able to kind of take a step back and realize, connections was not something that she wanted to believe in. And she stepped away and separated herself from her family. And maybe Kevin can find it in himself to also kind of undo some of the things that he was taught in connections and hear his kids out, hear Sherry out, and really get on good terms and help the other siblings out through what they experienced while under Ruby's care during that separation. Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff in Kevin's past, but hopefully him and Sherry being able to walk into court together is a sign that maybe he's coming around to change. I'm not sure, you guys, but a girl can freaking hope for the sake of these kids. I think a lot of people are skeptical, but really hoping that, good things are happening for the kids. But Sherry recently spoke out about some of what's been going on, writing on Instagram saying, "There's literally not even words to describe how upside down my life has become. I've cried, had an infinite number of panic attacks, had way too much ice cream, and yet life goes on. Therapy has literally saved me, but God has too. My life is somehow becoming more beautiful and fulfilling despite all the terrible things going on. I've tried to live my life to the fullest the last few weeks, even though all I want to do is hide away in my apartment. I do have my days. Tomorrow is another big court day, and I'd appreciate your prayers and thoughts for my family and myself. Words can't express the gratitude I feel for you all, and I feel your love." Honestly, every time Sherry posts, I just want to freaking give her a hug after, because I just feel like she's been through so freaking much. Obviously, her and her siblings have been through so much, but I can't imagine as the oldest child, and especially as someone who was not in communication with her parents and just sitting there kind of like wondering and, not knowing what was really going on and trying to get them that help, like things that she has experienced and been through. It's really nice to see that she's posting feeling supported and that, there are some good things that are happening to her and that she's trying to live her life to the fullest despite everything that's going on. Hopefully this is a sign that things are looking up for her and her family, and that maybe she is able to reconnect with her father and, get him to not be on the side of trying to charge her with robbery. But as of right now, that's what's come out about the Franke family. I will let you guys know if anything else comes out. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.